Hey there, folks. I am the Mighty Plantain, and I've got something extra special today. I've got to give big thanks to Melissa and Terry B for bringing me up from Saco, Maine, a bottle of Stay Puft from Barreled Souls. Great brewery down there, place I hadn't been to yet, and I actually didn't realize that they were in Saco. So it was an interesting story. I get this random message on Facebook from an old school friend of mine. She and her husband live down in the area in Saco, Maine, and she says, "Hey, I've got a bottle of this. We have a bottle of this Stay Puft from Barreled Souls. Are you interested?" I'm like, "Hell yeah." I've seen a couple of their brews at Brewfests, tried them, never been disappointed. The place does nothing but barrel-aged beers. Stay Puft obviously is going to be some kind of marshmallow themed. It happens to be an imperial stout with marshmallow, by the way. So I'm thinking this is going to be a solid beer. Absolutely. Thanks. By the way, we're on our way down to Saco this weekend. I didn't realize at the time that Barreled Souls is actually in Saco. They live down in Saco, and my wife had planned a trip for us to hit a couple of breweries down in that area and stay with some friends of ours, longtime friend of mine. So we were doing Barreled Souls that same weekend. So you guys were bringing the beer up as we were going down for more. But I did make it a solid point to avoid Stay Puft at the brewery. I got a flight of 4 different beers. I went mostly with imperials and other heavier beers, imperial stouts. I think a porter. I'd have to look back on Untapped to remember the 4 I checked into. But anyway, that's the story behind this. But again, a huge thanks to you guys because I anticipate this to be a great beer. And trust me, this is a huge favor. 1, I get a free beer. 2, you made the effort to bring it up and found a way to get it to me, even though our paths didn't cross that weekend. And I really appreciate that and everybody involved for taking part. So, without further ado, folks, I am going to cut the foil on this very fancy looking bottle. I love this. And I think this is one of the ones that's harder to get outside the brewery, so that makes this even more special. I noticed they had a lot of stuff that they would only do bottle pours in the brewery for, and I kept trying to go up to the counter and get one of them to let me take one with me, because there were a couple that sounded very, very interesting, but wasn't able to stay at the brewery long enough to check them all out. So it's an interesting bottle. It's got a slight green tint to it. We'll see what happens when we pour the beer out. Oh, I can hear it bubbling. Oh, ho, 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 ho. It's definitely a stout. Now it looks as it pours a little thinner than I would expect from an imperial stout, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Look at that head. That is a nice brown. That's a really dark brown head on that. Holy crap. I like the looks of it. It's fizzing a lot. It's very, very effervescent, but it's dark as midnight. Like I said, it had a thin appearance, and the head is bubbling up quite a bit, so it probably is going to be a thinner beer than you'd expect from an imperial stout. And I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but the bottle does have a slight olive green tinge to it. I really like that. That's a good look for a piece of glass, if you're into that kind of thing. But I like the look of the bottle. I like the look of that beer too. Not getting much off of the aroma. Maybe a slight toastiness. Stuck my nose right in it, and I think I'm getting a hint of booziness with this being 11.5% ABV. I'm not surprised by that booziness. Christ, this is an extra large shirt, and it keeps riding up on my arms. It should be the right size. Covers my fat ass, but rides up on the arms. You can see that stupid farmer's tan I've been working on all summer. Anyway, I digress. Definitely some toasty notes and maybe a hint of booziness underneath. Like I said, with an 11.5% The booziness is not unexpected, and it's typical. There it is. There's a bit of that booziness hits you up front, but then it's also got a nice medium mouthfeel. It looked really thin when I was pouring it, but it sits heavier on the tongue, like a regular imperial stout would. Well, it is an imperial stout, so nothing regular about that. Anyway, sorry folks, it's been a long day of hard physical labor, which makes this beer even more rewarding. Yep, a hint of booziness up front, but it fades very, very quickly to roasted and sweet flavor. So I'm definitely getting the marshmallow, definitely getting roasted notes. I hate to say this because it sounds bad, but it's not. I have a flavor that reminds me of a campfire. So I'm getting like a wood smoke flavor, but it's not unpleasant, because it sounds bad when you say that. Like mouthful of charcoal and wood smoke, but it's coming off the back of the palate, so it's giving me more of that sensation that you would get if you were smelling a nice campfire in the backyard. Or at the campground, wherever you want to build your campfire. But that's kind of melding with the toastiness, like a toasted sugar. Imagine that, and the sweetness of the marshmallow. So it's really like a nice roasted marshmallow flavor with that slight hint of booziness up front. Again, it fades the more you drink it. It's just like a mouthful of toasted marshmallow with all the nice toasty notes of a solid stout. And a good mouthful of maltiness. Damn. I mean, it's evoking a lot of imagery as well. I mean, come on. This is Maine. One of the things we love doing in the fall and the summer and the spring and just about any time of year except the dead of winter, is sitting in the backyard, starting a fire and roasting some marshmallows over it. I think this would be a perfect complement to that. I think this would be a great beer any time of year. It's got enough of a warming sensation. This is going to be a great winter beer too. But, I mean, here we are in the dead of summer. It's probably still in the high 80s tonight outside. In here it's 75, 74, somewhere around there. And it's still a pleasant experience, I usually stick with these heavier beers on the colder months, but I'm okay with this one during the warmer months. I've got to nail this with a full-on 5 out of 5. I'm really loving it. I'm glad I waited to try this one instead of getting the taster, because I wanted to get, that was the plan. I wanted to get the first reaction on camera, especially after you guys went to so much trouble to get it up here for me. So, again, a huge thanks. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll take free beer anytime, but when it's as good as this, it's definitely appreciated. Yeah. I'm looking forward to my next trip to Barreled Souls. I'm hoping to see them at Extreme Brew Fest in Boston in February. I think that's actually the next one I have scheduled to go to for sure. I might hit some more in between, but who knows? We're on a budget this time, right now. But I believe I've seen them at Extreme Brew Fest before. I'll have to look. So either way, I think a return trip to Barreled Souls is in my future, because I got a flight of 4 and I tasted the wife's flight of 4 as well. Had a little sip of each. There were no losers in that. And now with this one being a full-on 5 out of 5, I've got to go back and try some more of their beers. So once again, a huge thanks to Melissa and Terry B for getting this up to me. Full-on 5 out of 5. Check out Barreled Souls if you're in Saco, Maine, or even within 20 to 30 miles of the place. You're gonna love it. But that's just what I have to say about it. Make sure to hit me up down in the comments and the email link down below. I want to hear what you have to say about this beer. Whew, pardon. It's even pleasant on the one coming back up. While you're down there, make sure to like and share the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, folks, thanks for tuning in. Cheers. That is good. And I'm drinking it way too fast. I'm going to be in trouble in a few minutes here.